If I don't record this video now, it's gonna ruin my life. So this is essentially me closing this chapter of self-torture that started from a very fleeting thought of recording a video of 24 for 24, which very quickly I realized is not that unique. It turns out a bunch of my favorite bloggers, including Arlene from Delicious Delights, hi Arlene, have recorded this video already. And yet, that came to me all on its own, very original idea, and that started a cycle of just sheer agony. I was always the kind of person who likes diversity, who likes to have quite a few options of whatever that is, especially when it comes to accessories, clothing, perfumes, you name it. I'm pretty much trying to tell you that a top 10 perfumes in my collection is never going to be recorded on this channel. That's just not a possibility. If I have to go into such severe reductionism at that point, and I'm being completely like 100% real with you, if I have to reduce my collection of clothing, or in this case my collection of perfumes, by that much into like 1, 2, 3, 10, at that point it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If there is one perfume, any of them, like I bought them because I like them, it really does not matter. It can be any of them, because one is almost wearing no perfume at all. It just creates absolutely zero value in my life, besides just hygienic reasons of smelling good or, you know, whatever. On the opposite side, as I've been slowly gearing myself to change the way I function as a perfume evaluator, as a perfume blogger, as an enthusiast in this community, changing my relationship with shopping, changing the way that I curate my collection, I clearly saw that 30 to 40% of my perfume collection I could like easily let go of, even though I like every single one. So that kind of posed a curious question, at least for me. So when enough is enough? How many? Okay, not 1, not 3, not 10. Still, at that point, like even 10 still doesn't matter. You can just randomly pick 10 and that will be it. It will be no better than any other choice in my book. It's just too few for the choices to make a difference. And then I kind of started pulling things that are really important to me in my olfactory life and in my perfume collection. And I think I more or less stopped feeling the urge to pull something around the number 50. That would make an like absurdly long video that nobody would watch. So I tried to kind of play with reductionism a little bit for the sake of just like running a scientific experiment and explaining to you the reasoning, which might help you unlock a few of other insights of how you interact with scents and what you like and don't like and what you truly need in your life when it comes to perfumes. All right, so knowing what you know now, let's look at what I got. 24 for 24. I'm just gonna get out sentimental fragrances out of the way, because this is a category that everyone I think has. You know, that sweater that you wore in high school, you know, that this or that, or these pair of shoes that you're like favorite or whatever. So I have a few perfumes that are just so sentimental to me that I love how they smell, but I almost don't wear them as much, only certain occasions, and those occasions are specifically when I want to evoke a feeling or a memory. So first one, I already confessed my love for Anglomania. That was me growing up, me becoming a woman, a young adult, and I have a stash of this discontinued designer gem. Not gonna share it, this is just all for me. You see, like this particular one is actually still in mint condition. I am saving it for like a special occasion, probably in winter, when I'll open this dusty, powdery, punchy, and yet very seductive rose and wear it in the cold weather. The second very sentimental perfume to me is Le Defendue or Defendue. the seventh hour, I call it, by Cartier. Cartier has a collection of boutique scents, they're very hard to find, that are called Hours. And the seventh one I tried randomly just by buying samples here and there, and I fell in love with it. This is very rich, dense chocolate type of patchouli scent. To me, this is like a Hogwarts library. I absolutely adore it. It's very long lasting, it's very potent, and it's very atmospheric perfume. I wear it for me, I don't wear it for others, and often I would wear it when I'm alone, when I travel, or when I'm spending an evening with with a good movie or good book, just when I'm like hunkering down. I love it for those kind of moments. Again, like imagine like a rich old English castle with a library in it. That seventh hour for me. It was very hard to find. It was very precious acquisition. So for me, it just has that much more value because of it. All right, so that's two. Number three is a scent that I adore and I wear sparingly because, again, discontinued gem from Memo Paris is called Quartier Latine, and essentially is sweet, somewhat suede-y, powdery santal. It's very much milky, creamy santal. It's kind of sort of reminiscent of Serge Lutens Santal Majuscule, but that one is way more vanilla. To me, this is a delicious sweet suede fragrance. I feel it more as like a sweet gourmand suede rather than actually a milky santal. And again, I hunted it down. It's a very expensive brand. It's a discontinued gem from them. I adore it, and it was so hard for me to get this bottle that it's almost like I should wear it more because I love the scent, but it's just almost too precious. Like I go a little golem on it. But I would definitely, that would be one of the few bottles that I would be very hesitant to get rid of. Number four, and they're not ranked in terms of their importance, they're more ranked by, I guess, like moods and maybe even fragrance families. So we're kind of continuing, all of these are fairly heavy, sweeter fragrances, and a very darling perfume to me is like this by Spanish niche brand Etat Libre d'Orange, and I cannot imagine fall without this ginger, pumpkin, slightly metallic fragrance. It's just such a darling. I adore it. I have recently shown that I got a backup bottle of it so I can more freely share it with friends and people who are interested in trying it from my shelf. So yeah, like this, I talked to death about it. I think if you're curious about scents like that, watch my video about Thanksgiving scents or like in fall harvest scents. This is one of the gems that I have, and to me, like nearly all of the fall can be condensed into this particular bottle. Obviously, I would want to keep some Chypres, right? Like these, it's almost like bottles of good wine. Those both rich yet zesty, tangy, kind of sour, sweet, sour, bitter type of compositions. Once you get a taste for a Chypre, just for those who haven't found their perfect Chypre yet, you will always want to have at least one or two on hand. So I wouldn't call myself a truly Chypre connoisseur, but it took probably 4 years for me to understand this whole genre of smells. But once I did, I was like, okay, one or two I absolutely have to have in my collection. So my perfect Chypre is this like sour, sweet, kind of herbal but a little bit fruity type of fragrance. The one that's like the paragon of all the bottles that I have and all of the scents that I've tried over the years is Cartier Panther, but the Parfum version. It has like 1,000 formulations, very confusing. So the one that I find is the best, the smoothest blend, the perfect balance of everything is Parfum. It has a black band and it's called Cartier Panther Parfum. It's just the perfect fruity Chypre. There are so many historic ones that we keep referencing, like Mitsuko and this and this and that, and yet I find the one that easier to wear, that people love on me, and the one that's just impeccably smooth. Because the older ones, they're a bit harsh, they're a bit heavy. It's like more for vintage lovers. But if I'm picking one that's both contemporary yet timeless, that's this one. It's apricot-y sweetness combined with this delicious sour patchouli kind of zestiness. Everything about this Chypres is just so. I cannot think of a better one, to be honest. And again, there are so many variations on the Chypres family. It's just a kind of the overall theme. I also would want to keep something that I particularly, me, subjectively enjoy in the Chypres family, are those kind of poisonous, herbaceous, bitter Chypres. They're not for everyone, absolutely, but my favorite one is Matahari 1876 by French niche brand Histoires de Parfums. Matahari combines this just hypnotic, narcotic sweetness. It's somewhere there, like an echo, powdery sweetness that softens a very herbaceous, bitter smell. It's forbidding yet comforting at the same time. It's very narcotic. It's addictive. And yet it's so niche. It's so not for everyone. And I adore it so much. So that would be the most unusual and out there kind of Chypres niche scents that I would definitely want to have on hand for that special mood. Since we are on this kind of like heavier, sweeter kick, let's continue there. Amber. Oh, I have so many good ambers. Again, at this point, if I'm completely transparent and honest, any of them would do. I love my ambers. They're all great. But the one that comforts me the most and the most comfortable, rich, and dense for me still remains L'Ambre Extreme by French niche brand L'Artisan Parfumé, which some people don't know. It was actually acquired by, Spanish holding Pig? I'm not sure how you say that. So they're no longer independent niche, and it's been a while since it was that way. But L'Artisan legacy lives. They were arguably the first truly niche, independent perfume brand that was going their own course, doing their own thing, completely separate from the mainstream and the big boys and the establishment of perfume industry. And then a lot of others followed suit. So for that, a lot of respects to L'Artisan Parfumeur. They're no longer independent though, just worth saying in case you care. L'Ambre Extreme, mind you, they have L'Ambre and they have L'Ambre Extreme, is just the best combination of rounded sweet amber and somewhat resinous depth. I am apparently not a big fan of smoky burned ambers. They're just a bit much for me. Even leathery ambers, they are rich, respectable. I can't really enjoy wearing them long enough. So, when you're choosing so few, and essentially this is the only true amber here for the whole selection, right, of my new and reduced minimalistic olfactory wardrobe, I would go with something that is more well-rounded. And that's, I guess, the general theme here. I'm either picking my absolute favorites, and I don't care if people love them or not, like Matahari, super niche, not for everyone. I love it though. Or I would go for things that just kind of have it all, that are just very balanced. And this is why we will have quite a few cheapies and designer scents here, just the same as the niche. Because let's face it, that's what designer scents are made for. They're made for mass appeal. And if they're not too watered down and not too primitive, they kind of win. They tend to win. Anyway, this is French niche though. L'Ambre Extreme, my top and only pick of amber. And as I was thinking about something also gourmand, but with a twist, I love Foie d'Absinthe by L'Artisan Parfumeur. Like I have old packaging. Don't get scared if you look it up and you see like darker bottles with completely different lids. It's just an older packaging. They repackaged their fragrances since. So Fouad Absinthe is sweet, soft, leathery absinthe. I just, it's again narcotic to me. It's boozy, but it's not too bitter. There's not much of these absinthe austerity that people are afraid of when you mention the ingredient. It's just so well blended, and it's unusual. It's not too sweet to be edible. It's not too boozy to be risque to wear in, let's say, an office environment. It's just like so well balanced and unusual at the same time. So that would be probably my like evening scent of the choice if I wanted just to be different enough and yet smell delicious. Fouad Absinthe. When it comes to my demonic scents, I would probably, again, considering just how small the number 24 is, if you really think about it, I would keep one for those like dark dungeon parties and, you know, demonic festivities. That would be Irreverent by Histoires de Parfums, or any other smoky, dark hookah bar slash spices with prunes, with like dried sweet prunes kind of fragrance. Varvatos, Dark Rebel comes to mind. La Couche du Diable by Serge Lutens comes to mind. So like I have them all. But if I had to pick one, with the one that I think just combines things just so, it's just so comfortable and not too simplistic, it's Irreverent by Histoires de Parfums. I guess it's the second one, right, by Histoires de Parfums that I referenced today. Yep, two of them. The next two are the just kind of crowd pleasers. These are perfumes that are of moderate sweetness, moderate fruitiness, moderate floralness, moderate muskiness, but they're just compliment getters. I will not be the person who constantly tell you, you know, how to smell sexy or how to smell expensive on the cheap. But when I do, but like I'm also human, right? And I also want people to enjoy how I smell. And I would call these perfumes like dating perfumes. They're just pleasers, you know, they're easy, delightful, feminine, they're, again, very well balanced. This might not be my default picks for any given day, but I think it's like sometimes if I have to be surrounded by people and I want them to enjoy their time around me and I want to be like understood, just crowd pleaser, right? That's a good name for perfumes of this kind. I would choose this too. First is Lalique, as I think it's called Lalique Lalique, essentially namesake eau de parfum. I have like their anniversary version, the version that came with this little necklace. Otherwise, that's what it looks like. They used to be dirt cheap. I think now they're becoming more expensive. Take that into account. This is romantic, easy to understand, delightful apricot-y sweetness. So the fruitiness here is peachy apricots. It's has enough of a longevity, has enough of a projection, and yet it's neither too sugary, no it's too floral. It's just delightful, friendly, very kind of hugging friendly type of peachy apricot smoothie, or, you know, kind of like a sweet, jammy type of concoction. People love it. Every time I wear it, somebody will ask, what are you wearing? Men and women. And something of this kind, but like I have a lot of perfumes like that, obviously, because they're also very pleasant to wear and to feel and to wear for me. But if I had to, again, downsize it dramatically, I would choose something that's just classic. And again, Lalique has a lot of brand value for me. It's a historical brand. There's a lot of history there. It's just, it has like more than a scent value. And I think that's something I didn't mention. You will probably notice I'm picking the brands that hold their value in time. It's more than just a scent. It's everything. Everything at that point of reductionism, everything has to be perfect. There is also a flavor to consider, is that newness. there are a lot of favorites that you're not going to see here because I wore them to death in the last year or two. So some fragrances I pick because I love them and I haven't worn them for a while, and some I pick because they're new. They're just new to my collection, and this is probably a perfect example. Such a crowd pleaser. Again, if you don't have much money, you don't know what to get, but you want to be like both like you don't want to smell like 2010s, and that's what original Narciso Rodriguez's were. Still the sexiest, the sluttiest scents on the market, the original Eau de Parfum and Eau de Toilette. But if you want to be a little bit more contemporary and potentially you want to wear it to work as well, and it translates to dating times and like hanging out with other people, Musc Noir. Since then, they also released 1,000 Flankers. I still dare say Musc Noir is their return to fame, essentially. It's very contemporary, skin-like musk. It's not super duper heavy or sweet, with a lot of this kind of like plum wine mixed in. It's very luscious. It has enough projection and it has enough longevity, but it kind of stays within a hugging distance unless you over apply it. And it's just a very romantic perfume. People will want to hug you when you wear this. People will want to get closer to you. It's sensual, but it's respectful of your space and other people's space as well. And it's new to my collection. So out of everything that is the crowd pleaser, those are the two crowd pleasers I would keep, so, you know, I can please myself and others. That's not all though. More intimate perfumes, personally for me, are the nude perfumes, the perfumes that whisper. Not a popular topic on YouTube, I know, but it's the top category of perfumes for me personally. And I notice for people who I talk to, who I offer to try perfumes blindly, the nudes win because they make you feel good. They might not be for others, but they soothe, elevate, inspire. These are like meditative, cuddly, kissing type of scents. You have to be really close to somebody to feel it, but when you do, it's like a glue. So the two, I have probably like 20 or 30. So the two that I picked is, no surprise for some of you who've been with me for a while, Tardes by Spanish niche brand Carner, Barcelona. To my knowledge, they're still independent, so that's the dollars well spent if you decide to get yourself a full-size bottle or get yourself a decant from my collection. Sweet almonds with just a dust of sugary powder. And it's also ethereally floral, but more kind of like on the background. It's more this soft almond souffle. Just a little of sugar powder, just a tid, and florality of it makes it just travel better in space. Guys love it for some reason. Like every time I wear it, it's usually men who will ask, what is it, and where can I get it for an important woman in their life. So I would say that this is even more so of a like 4th, 5th, 10th kind of date, while the previous two are really good for just being in the crowd, being around people. And the one that I find so luscious and very much like me for me, but you'll enjoy too, is Royal Musca by Micallef. I just wanted to, again, have enough of a variety of brands, and I had way too many options. But I love this bottle. It's very girly. And this is an apricot smoothie. If that was almond smoothie, this is like a very soft, creamy texture with an apricot smoothie. Quiet, tasteful, what people like to call classy. It's like coming out of a day spent in a spa. A beautiful, beautiful creation. Now for the peculiarities of my taste. I love spices, especially dry, kind of black peppery spices. I am in forever search for the right lily scent, for the right leathery scent. So this is the reflection of things that I'm like on a quest for. And these are the best representations of what I found so far. The best leather scent, that was a tough one because I kind of blew my budget in the last 3 years searching for the right leather. And I have way too many leather scents. And yet, this is one of the first ones that I have ever acquired beside the Dame Blonde by Serge Lutens. And I picked this one. This is L'Artisan Parfumeur Mon Numero 10. I think it's discontinued now. To me, this is like thin, very expensive, thin, soft leather with a just touch of like honey ambrosia in it. This is the most tasteful, expensive, and yet very, I wouldn't call it feminine actually. It's like unisex elegance of a sweeter, delicate leather scent. This is the one that I picked out of everything that I have when it comes to leather. When it comes to spices, it was truly painful, truly. But here I went for the brand and for the novelty factor, and it's just as good as many other spicy fragrances that I have. This is Perfume Noir, a newer scent by Serge Lutens. It's just such a comforting, easy to wear, easy to understand, dry black pepper scent. Easy choice. Again, very conforming, which you can't often say about Serge Lutens fragrances, but again, this is such a tough selection that I had to sacrifice some originality for the sake of wearability, because you will have to wear this a lot if you only have 24. Some of you who've been with me for a while are getting worried, like, Maria, what's happening with you? Where are all of your allegedly so elegant and tasteful, unusual florals? Here they are. I have a cemetery of florals. I always buy like 10 options of the same thing for some reason when it comes to florals. It was very hard to choose. So disclaimer, I could have picked any other two, but this is what I picked this time, considering when I wore before and when I really, really crave to wear right now as a floral. This is just a final plunge that I took from the Spanish brand Etat Libre d'Orange Jasmine et Cigarettes. This is my youth. This is jasmine, like light, almost metallic floral jasmine, plus the smell of cigarette butts. Okay, you know, very faithful representation of my teen years. And since I just got this bottle, and it's both nostalgic yet new, I'm keeping this one. It's a very unusual floral, not for everyone, very niche, and that kind of, I feel like, gives me a bit of an edge. And a crowd-pleasing but unusual floral from a British niche brand, Atkinson's, is My Fair Lily. You see like how hard it is to optimize diversity with functionality, with all of these other facets of like wearability, you know, the sentimental value, brand value. Oh gosh, it took me a month to prepare for this video, I kid you not. And probably if I had to do it again, I would again do a different selection. It's just minimalism is not, you know, like austere, severe minimalism is not my thing. But back to the Atkinsons. My Fair Lily by Atkinsons is so far the most wearable, delightful, flowy white lily scent that I have. It's not predatory, it's not smothering. Those of you who are afraid of white lilies or tiger or any lily scents for that reason, this is the one you will be able to wear. And this is such a juicy, sunny floral, and it's unusual because lily is not that common in floral space. It's usually jasmine, so I went with the weirdest jasmine I could find that I love. With lily, I went with a crowd pleaser. People love this one. If you like florals, this is very easy to wear. Is it the most complicated or the most believable lily? No. It's a wearable, light lily scent. I love it. That's just me single-handedly wearing it non-stop. I pretty much bathe myself in it. I make like a 5 ml decants. I spread it like in the purses. The moment March comes, this will be in my rotation. So that's how I limited myself to florals, you know, this romantic, light, non-gourmand, non-sweet, non-fruity, just light, elegant florals. I love them. I have a lot of them. This is the best I could do given the insane limitations of these tags. The struggle is real, guys. The struggle is real. We're on the last 6. Okay, the morning routine. The number of times I swapped things here, it's more than 20. And yet, then I just went like, which ones, which bottles, because I have so many morning scents that I love. But then I asked myself which bottles were the hardest, the most priciest to get, which ones I would really feel bad if I lost those bottles. And that's the 2 that I picked up. Frederic Malle, Bigarade Concentré. I dare say this is the best citrus. Jean-Claude Elena, who is the master of citrus scents in like worldwide in perfumery. This is the best lemon, lime, you name it, citrus scent that he's made ever. Bigarade Concentré is so rich. It's both the oiliness of, you know, the lemon skin, and it's the bitterness and the sourness and the zestiness, almost the mintiness of lime. It's everything. It's infinitely interesting, which you can't say that about citruses very often. Even more so, it's long lasting, which is absolutely not an adjective, or, you know, not a characteristic that you would put to a citrus scent. Citrus molecules are the shortest in length. They're the fastest to evaporate. Therefore, citrusy notes are the first for you to feel and the first ones, you know, to go. To make a fragrance, a niche fragrance, an expensive fragrance that was interesting, deep, long-lasting, and that's all about lemons, limes, and citruses, that is unheard of. He did it. Bigarade Concentré, the only citrus that I would probably keep. That would be it. And as you know, if you've been with me for any period of time, that I'm a big fan of contemporary oceanics and contemporary mineral fragrances. Not for everyone, but like, I'm excited to be alive in the times where they almost went mainstream. After Tom Ford released a few, it's pretty much mainstream now. So my pick of this salty, oceanic, reclaimed wood, almost seaweedy and salty, fresh oceanic fragrance is Amouage Beach Hot, the version that's made for women. I haven't had the privilege to try their version made for men. One day, hopefully, or if you want to send me a decant from your collection, much appreciated. But this is the one. I wore probably 3 or 4 decants and I just couldn't shell the money needed to buy an authentic Amouage. By the way, those are faked very often. Be careful if you buy them used. Unfortunately, Frederic Malle, Amouage, Memo, there are a few brands that are the most faked on the secondary market, unfortunately. Anyway, Amouages are expensive. They are. But again, the brand has so much history. I need to have an Amouage. And since I love contemporary, oceanic, salty, fresh fragrances, that would be Beach Hot. It beats every single other fragrance from this category in my collection, and even more so everything that I've tried in the last 10 years. Love it. So that's that when it comes to morning, and yet there are 2 more that I would use for either the morning routine or when I needed to be reflective, contemplative, when I need to do slow thinking. They're just very energy consuming and you have to kind of shut everything out. So my meditative thinking scents are lavender and incense. The best, the driest, sort of highland lavender is Lavandula by Penhaligon's. Historic British brand. Are they still independent? No, I think they're owned by some corporation. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, there's much to be said about the pioneering that Penhaligon's did in the old days in the olfactory design. And to this day, nobody matched their lavender. I dare say this is one of the very unique and underappreciated offerings that Penhaligon has on the market. I tried so many lavenders. This is the best dry, refreshing one. Not sweet, not smoky, not oily, but like you almost like morning up in the mountains. Lavandula. Love it. Nothing come close to it. And since there's only one lavender here, that would be Lavandula. Incense was hard because I'm not a big expert on incense. I am starting to explore it in 2024. So I went by kind of, okay, this is pleasing enough and it's new and it's incense. So this is Sancti by another really amazing independent French niche brand, Lalique Lalique. It's very hard to pronounce. If you look in the description down below, you'll see why. It's French names, it's just, they don't make it easy for you, do they? Sancti is, to me, a very high frequency incense. It's not heavy, it's not like this rich, dark, almost like Vatican in a bottle. This is flowy, high, like Catholic type of incense with, to my nose, a lot of grapefruit and a lot of citruses. And this is why this is best for a contemplative morning. Sancti by Lalique d'Imaginaire. Get yourself a decant, try it from my collection or anywhere else where you can find it. This is the incense that I decided to keep out of quite a few options that I have because I already like it and it's new and it's a really cool brand to have. The last two slots I decided to dedicate to new. Bad, good, doesn't matter, just new, because the truth of the matter is if we only keep our favorites, we actually will get bored rather quickly. It's the human nature. We seek change. We want, like at least a few things to be new on any given period of our lives. So either it would be just 2 open slots so I could buy myself something new to try, but the ones that I bought recently that I was like, okay, out of all of the new things that I bought, these are the ones that I'm wearing the most, and these are the ones that I kind of find are unique and catchy enough. This is gonna be a surprise for many. It's a cheapie. This is Oxygène by Lanvin. It's a version marketed toward women. It's unisex actually. If you like Dolce & Gabbana light blue, but you're kind of tired of it, it's like it's been around forever and just want a little bit of a variation on it, Oxygène Lanvin. I just got it. I think this, if I don't find a new perfect lilac, this might become my anchor for working out. It's refreshingly bitter, but it's bitter in the same way that light blue is bitter. It's delicious. It's citrusy, fresh, put together, and it's not citrusy. When we say fresh, people either think oceanic or they think citruses. This is a synthetic, kind of nouveau, contemporary freshness, yet it was made a while ago and it doesn't cost that much. Out of all of these, like even my waters by Serge Lutens that I love dearly, and even they didn't win in the contest of new and exciting. This is very uniquely cool fragrance and it costs peanuts. I mean, comparatively to some other stuff that I showed here. I love it. I'm bathing in it. It's also not cheap. It does not smell cheap. You smell like one of those like fitness babes in what's like that expensive Equinox or whatever, those like the most expensive gyms on the planet. It's like you're one of those fitness babes who is like exiting Equinox at 5 a.m. Love it. Just love it. And it's new and it's actually rather affordable. Last one was even harder to pick, but I made my choice and I'm gonna present it because I am obsessed with it right now. I am finishing my second decant and I just got myself a bottle of Holly Rose by Room 1015. A new niche brand for me. Cool stuff, like their Sweet Leaf Adore in my wish list. Holly Rose, finally got myself a bottle after drinking nearly 16 ml in decants. It like hits all of the boxes for me. And for me, this is essentially the girl from St. Pete. This is the rose that got high and kind of like forgot about the agenda for the day. It's flowy, rich, a little bit patchouli, and like I for some reason feel weed in here, but in a very, it's kind of alluding, it's not an obvious way. It's just this bohemian, reckless, semi-sweet rose scent. It's not gourmand, but it's just such a bohemian scent. And the best of what St. Petersburg, Florida has to offer, it's a very bohemian town when it comes to like young people who live here, you know, like the culture of it. This is it. This is St. Pete in a bottle to me. Again, the brand value, cool, contemporary niche. I'm obsessed with the scent right now. And roses, you cannot really go with a rose scent. They're crowd pleasers. People compliment it all the time. And it's new to me as well. I don't know, too many words, but I was just trying to explain all of the factors that went through my mind when I tried to choose 24 cents for 2024. I think I deserve a medal because this is really the worst challenge for a person like me. But I look at every single one and there is like a multitude of reasons why each of these bottles deserves to be on my shelf. It's a functionally, in my view, very well-rounded collection. It has cheapies, new things, classics, niche, expensive, crowd pleasers, very unique, very complex, simple, sophisticated, light, heavy, sweet. It has everything. I'm just looking in front of me right now. All these bottles. It is the perfect collection for me. Now, I challenge you back. 24 for 24. Make an Instagram post, story, video, leave a comment. Try. I found it to be a very fruitful exercise. And I'm very grateful I don't have to do this to myself at the same time. It's just such a relief to now take them, cherish them, and put them back into my enormous perfume library. It's like double win. Can't stop winning today. We'll be waiting impatiently for your feedback and your picks that might actually get, my mind going what I actually need to rebalance or repurpose and what options do I have on my shelves that could kind of explore some of the inspiring themes that you guys tend to share with me in your comments. It's just the comments sometimes are better than the video. I'm not kidding. I love the kind of exchanges that we have here. Thank you so much for watching. Drop me a line. Let me know what you think. All of these you can try and get yourself a decant from my shelf if you want to. The links are down below. And I'll see you in the next video. Whew, my nightmare is over. God, thank you. Thank you, universe, that I actually don't have to do this.